I put this like this, you guys still hear the game. If I put this like this, you guys still hear the game. If I put this like this, you guys still hear the game. If I put this like this, you guys still hear the game. If I put this like this, you guys still hear the game. If I put this like this, you guys still hear the game. If I put this like this, you guys still hear the game. If I put this like this, you guys still hear.
1 second, guys. I said two people
If
here.
I put this like
Don't
this,
leave me.
you guys still hear.
1 second, guys. I said two people
If I
here.
put this like
Don't
this,
leave me.
you guys still hear.
1 second, guys. I said two people
If I
here.
put this like
Don't
this,
leave me.
you guys still hear.
1 second, guys.
Okay, that's better. I'm sorry, guys. I was getting like literally deaf by listening to the game. I'm honest with you. No, at this point, I just want to listen how it is. The audio, let's say. The audio, let's say. The audio, let's say. The audio, let's say. I'm trying my best, okay? Like, I'm trying to actually lower the audio. So maybe I'm still checking, like, so maybe this is most likely what we're gonna deal with. We should be fine. I'm just gonna check again with my device. I'm just gonna check again with my device. I'm just gonna check again with my device. Okay, so it looks like the audio is actually a little bit fine, but I still don't know. Give me 1 second to remove my headsets and then try again with everything. Let's say everything. Let's say everything. Let's say. All right. Okay. I think it's decent. All right. Okay. I think it's decent. All right. Okay. I think it's decent. Now, why do I listen to myself? I think it's decent. Now, why do I listen to myself? I think it's decent. Now, why do I listen to myself? I think I shouldn't listen to myself anymore. I think I shouldn't listen to myself anymore. Why do I listen to myself through my headset? I'm getting like literally through my headset. I'm getting like this is supposed to be different than what I'm expecting to do. So this is supposed to be different than what I'm expecting to do. So this is supposed to be different than what I'm expecting to do. So this is supposed to be different than what I'm expecting to do. So this is supposed to be different than what I'm expecting. Okay. Now we're talking. Um, I think now we're talking about something. Yeah, this is definitely better. I had audio, which I have removed officially because I don't like it. Now, let me just go to the garage because I'm listening. I have the audio of the game a little bit like low, so I don't hear it. But this, at the very least, this, if anybody's watching, or if not, it's also fine. Like, okay, once little second, once again, because the game is going usually slow, and I don't like that. I think it should be fixed now. I don't know if it's fixed, but this is like the best that we have. But as I said, like this is I'm sure usually people don't care regarding like what people's like rights or what people does. Like at the moment, also like mainly if there is somebody watching this, the main reason they will be interested about something is where is that money thing? You guys see the money thing in the map? Because I don't. Oh, it's here. Okay. I'll do it, just because. I don't think I don't want to get into trouble because this is not about that. The game is a little bit laggy. But that's okay. It should get better with time. So, what I was saying is that this is, or I think so. At the very least, this live that I'm doing, it has, in fact, nothing to do with the game. If anybody's watching this because of the game, it's not the right place because it's not about the game. Today is something about a creator. I call it like about something else, about like a better. I don't know how to explain it. Like maybe a bigger purpose, I would say. And I'm doing it. Like to be honest with anybody who listens to this, I'm a native Spanish speaker. English is not my main language at all, whatsoever. Like I don't. It's not. Like I learned it like just a few years ago. To be honest, like maybe 2 years ago. And I think because. And I think I have done a great job because I consider that I have a good accent. I consider that I have. No, I think I speak English very well, and because it's a letter to my dog, and I want to keep it that way. I don't understand where is the money here, but either way it doesn't matter. I want to keep it that way. I wanted to make this video. I want to keep it private. Besides posting this on everywhere in like in where everybody speaks the same language as me, right? Now the game is going so laggy that it's to the point that it's like absurd, if you know what I mean. Or maybe it's because I've got a little bit like here, and it should be fine. So, what is this life for?
Now that's an interesting car.
1 second.
Ready to game tomorrow?
I want to have like a private session because we're keeping everything here tied together. So what was I saying? Yes, my main language is Spanish. I'm a native Spanish speaker.
I'm from Costa Rica, and I'm doing this in English because I want to keep it in a way that maybe if I look days in the future, I'll be maybe, you know, one of the few of my family who will actually understand, but I don't want everybody to know. Uh, Besides like having the photo of my dog in the thumbnail. Hope you liked it. But what I was saying is that this is a letter to my dog, and maybe you guys didn't know, but the day that I started streaming, it was because I was worried about my dog regarding a health situation that he was dealing with. And that day I just felt like I needed something to clear my head, because the veterinarian were not answering me, and the situation was not like dangerous enough to go to the veterinarian at the moment. And I just needed somewhere to like breathe and somewhere to feel like I was communicating what I was feeling and communicating what losing my dog will mean. Because the title of the video was, "What do you mean my dog will die?" I remember that was the title of the title of the video, which unfortunately I think is no longer available because I wasn't able to stream in YouTube, where usually the videos are like forever and ever, but in Twitch they're not. So keep in mind of that. I think that I made that video, right? I think the day after that, I took him to the veterinarian to do a checkup, because then he woke up without no wanting to eat and not drinking water and nothing like that, right? And well, I took him to the veterinarian and he got hospitalized for 3 days. Not because I wanted to, or because I felt like that was the most amazing thing to do, because in fact I didn't want it, my dog to be there. They were like, I think like even though that he's stable now, because once you get there they need to put some oxygen. And they were like, it's not like we want to keep your dog, but we just want to see him like through the night. And they did. They did so. And it was fine. He stayed there. I slept a little bit like, okay, everything will be fine, and like that. Then the next day they told me like, hey, if you could come in the afternoon so we can talk. And then they told me what they wanted to do with my dog and what they were seeing, right? They discovered that my dog had like some chronic bronchitis in his lungs, and he had like how can I explain this? 2 masses that were not tumors or anything like that, but it was like the same lung, that basically parts of the lungs that lost functionality because of the chronic bronchitis. That's called like scar tissue inside the lungs, and he was having that. I'll go to the end of the map, which I think is like here. And these people consider us classical people. To continue a little bit with the topic, my dog had this, right? And they were like, we're gonna have this procedure. There's always a risk for anesthesia. My dog was already 11 years old, so he was considered old already. And also, there's always a risk for anesthesia. However, it shall be fine. And they did the procedure. It was not a surgery. They just went with a camera in his lungs to take some part of the mucus that he had in his lungs, and that was it. Usually the veterinarian told me like I was gonna be able to pick him up the same day, but in this case it was not possible. So because I wanted to see him one more night, that was the third night that he stayed there. I was like, sure. Well, he stayed 2 nights and 3 days, I would say. So he stayed there. No, hold on. It wasn't Thursday. No, 3 nights. I picked him up until Sunday. He stayed there. Before this diagnosis, I was told that my dog had tumors because he had like masses on his lungs, and one of these masses was moving his heart, and that he eventually was gonna die. But like when they tell you it's chronic bronchitis, usually you will take it as a different way. You will take it as a, I don't know, maybe not life-threatening or anything like that. At this point, I had or I expected that my dog was not gonna die because they gave him some antibiotics before, and he was able to be very well. Like he was like a week maybe, if I consider that, very well. Like he was before, looking out of the window, eating normally, fighting with me even, like if you can call it, because he never liked when I approached too much to his bed. Not like he was gonna bite me, but more like when he wanted to sleep, I would go and tease him, and then he didn't like that. Maybe it was not a good thing that I don't ever do, but like I don't know. I felt like that was my way of connecting with him. After that, what happened? Well, not that much. Like, let's go back to Sunday. I think that's where it was. The day after the thing that he got. So I go and pick him up, and I notice that my dog has some hard time breathing. They told me that with the pills that I was gonna give him, he was gonna be able to continue for 8 days while they check what type of bacteria he had on his lungs, and until we have the antibiotics. I was like, fine. If that's what you have to do, it's just 8 days. Never thought of like at this point, like the idea of my dog dying has a very big remove from my head. In fact, I was a little bit happy that it was just chronic bronchitis, even though it's bad, right? I'm gonna start journaling like this. At this point, and something that I want to mention is that sometimes you have to maybe to see or to feel your gut, if you can call it like that. If you see something that you don't like, or if you have a bad feeling about something, just follow it. Because the second I saw my dog like having a hard time breathing, I didn't say anything to the veterinarian, but I noticed it. I was like, he's breathing hard. And I didn't say anything because I suppose they knew more. Which in some sort of way they do know more, but you know more your own dog. The way that he was breathing is the same reason why I brought him to the veterinarian the first time, right? And now this time I was taking it home. Breathing exactly like that. And before I took him, he was just watching to the horizon, let's say. Watching at absolutely nothing. And I got worried. But as I said, I didn't say anything. I just paid the pending charge for the veterinarian and I went home. I took an Uber pet, and my dog started like, like exalting himself and like, and having a, once your dog gets excited because he didn't like cars, so he was not comfortable being there. And while the day went by, he came home, he ate some chicken that I put there for him. I pet him, but something was wrong, you know what I mean? I woke up that day, I remember, and I felt something. I don't know what I felt, but I felt something like anxiety in my back. Weird, when I should be happy because my dog was back home, right? But that's what I feel, or what I felt. And and I should have followed it. I should have. Now that I'm telling you this, like I should have followed it. Either way, continuing, I came upstairs and I heard a sound that my dog made twice, and he was looking upstairs, and I just looked downstairs, and I was like, "What's going on?" But I checked, and it said that basically like the feelings. I mean, not the feeling per se, but like what he was. The sound that he was making. I'm sorry, it's a little bit late here in Costa Rica. The sound that he was making was totally normal after having a procedure like that. Because usually they will just irritate or hurt a little bit his throat, and once he exhales, that was the important part. Breathing in, no issues. Breathing out was difficult for him, and that's when he made these noises. They said that it was normal, so I didn't worry, and I didn't send a message to the veterinarian because I felt I was worrying more, because that's how I picked him up. Like, this was just like 2 hours away from that time. I continued, but I was worried, and then another 3 hours went by, and at this point it was 6. And then my dog did that, I think in total 3 times. And every time he did it, he went and looked at me at the kitchen. And looked at me. He looked at me in the kitchen. And as I said, once again, I was like, "What's happening?" Then I realized like maybe I should get my dog to the veterinarian. And I tried to record a video when he was doing it. At this point, he did it one last time, and he went to the bathroom just to be alone. And I was like, "Well, that's weird," and I went and followed him because I was worried about my dog. And 1 second. Oh my god. I don't know how people does this like without having to sneeze or like without yawning, And at this point, I went there to the bathroom with him. I started recording him. Now I was like, I'm gonna send this to the veterinarian because I don't like it at all. And I even felt, before this happened, I even felt I wanted to have my family home with me, because I eventually thought in calling them, because I felt worried, like in a bad way. I felt like if something was gonna happen, I just was like, I remember calling my mom and I was like, I just feel like I don't want to be alone with my dog. And when that happened, I was alone with my dog, and that's how it was. I didn't end up calling anybody because, again, I was like, this is how I grab him from the veterinarian. I just don't need to like, they know more. And that's what I'm telling you. Like, if you feel something, just don't look there into nothing. Most likely, if you see something that you don't think is normal, maybe it is not normal. And what else? After that, he had a second. No, I think it's like a 4th time making this sound that I'm telling you. And he tries to get out of the bathroom again. Every time now, instead of looking for me, he wanted to get out. Like, not to be with me in the same room. And I follow him. I see that he has a seizure. Well, not a seizure, but I think in English it's called syncope. But let's call it seizure because of oxygen lacking in his lungs, I'll say. And after that, usually like this, like remember this has happened, these episodes happened like I think 5 times before. Every single time we went to the veterinarian, but he was able to recover after. And the veterinarian, remember the guy that told me that he had tumors, told me that these things were gonna happen until he passed away, right? I don't have that in my mind at this point, right? I like think about this. I don't have this in my mind. I'm not gonna do that because I never, ever had the. I was prepared. I looked for some places to, have his body, but I never thought that he was actually gonna die. That was not in my book. That was not in my agenda. That was not in my plan of this year's. But this things happened. So what happened? I decide to go out with him. He fell on the floor, and I'm waiting for him to recover. After that, he has a hard time breathing. At this point, he was just having a very hard time breathing. Like, no, like the previous one that asked the veterinarian, no. This time, after he fell on the floor, all of a sudden, he just couldn't breathe anymore. He was like having a very hard time breathing. And I was checking his mouth all the time, because if you see blue on his mouth, then you know that you have to run. I saw that his thumb was getting really blue. Oops. And I sent a quick message to the veterinarian, like, hey, my dog is this. In the moment, like, for all reasons, I couldn't just go there straight to veterinarian. And even if I could, I wouldn't have enough time, because all of this happened at 6:04. And unfortunately, my dog passed away at 6:10, and the veterinarian was like 10 minutes driving.
Christ!
At 6:10, he stopped breathing completely. So he had this issue. I said to the veterinarian, hey, like, he's having this. They didn't answer me. I thought I hope they could come home, because they have some of those services, but they couldn't. I called my mom to see what to do, because I didn't know what to do. I took his pills, his inhalers, I put it on him. No, nothing worked, unfortunately. And he eventually passed away after a very dramatic or terrible scene that I had to watch. And I just wanted to give that context. Why? When I didn't have to. I don't know. I feel like I want to have that reminder here, so I can always remember what happened. And at the very least, I think I can always remember that I tried my best for him to survive. Unfortunately, it was way too late once I bring him to the veterinarian. Unfortunately, I don't live in Costa Rica anymore. I am a student in Sweden. And I had to leave my dog, but the second I came back, the second I took care of him. So this is a letter, or this video, I guess, or this live is a letter to my dog. And I just want to say that maybe this is a letter for my dog, but my dog can hear this, so it's a letter for the future me. Sometimes we, as humans, I have the perspective that most of the people will just think that dogs are just dogs. That dogs are just an animal that you can just replace. And I have heard comments here and there. I have tried to look for videos to watch and to try to understand and to move on from this. But I think if there is something that anybody wants to know about losing a dog, it's just that it's normal to have these encounters regarding, like, why do I feel like this about my dog? It was just a dog, you know what I mean? Like, because that's what I felt. It was like, I don't understand why am I crying, or why am I feeling so bad? It was just a dog. But then something that you forget is that it's a living being, is just an animal, just like a human. You know what I mean? Like we are not. They're not humans, right? But they're animals, and humans are also animals. They feel, they cry, they eat, they go to the bathroom, they do this as you. They obviously, don't think the same way as us, but I would say that they think in their way that maybe we try to understand. But at least my beliefs tell me that we don't fully understand animals. And I don't think they only manage by instinct. But I don't know. Like, who am I? I'm not a zoologist, I think it's called, to know those answers. So, what is the letter I'm trying to say? Oh, what I'm trying to tell you is just that it's normal to feel that you shouldn't cry for him. It's something that I have realized on now. It's just that he, at the very least, my dog, and I only speak for my dog, he was more than just my dog that used to feed him and walk him and go out to the backyard to take a. No, he was definitely more than that. He was. He was more like a dog. As I said, he was my. I don't know how to explain it, but no, obviously not my son. But I also like more like a brother, if you can say it like this, or like, because I grew up with him since I was 10. I'm 22 right now, and it has been a lot of years and lots of things have happened since then. And I want to say that sometimes I'm thinking about myself, and I don't know, I just go downstairs. I wake up every day and I forget for a very few seconds, or not even a second, that he is no longer here with us. I just forget about it. I just don't think about it. This is. Okay, this is interesting. So that was more than my dog. He was my partner of life. He stayed with me when it was a bit of tough times in my home, and he didn't even ask much, just food and water. And maybe sometimes I would like to know if my dog thinks that I did enough. Maybe he thinks that I did exactly what I needed to do in the moment, and unfortunately there was nothing else to do. I hope you know, to my dog, this is when I'm gonna start speaking like to my dog. I hope you know that I tried, and I'm very sorry that maybe it was not enough for you to stay, or maybe that was just the point where you just needed to be with me. But it's such a hard thing to how could I like to accept, because I don't accept it. I still have a hard time. I don't think. Once they took you to the cremation place, I didn't. I thought they were gonna be like, oh, you know what? Like he, yes, had an episode. He is up now. They called me today give me your ashes. And sometimes I would just like to, I don't know, I am escaping beaties while talking about losing a dog because I feel like I cannot handle it anymore. um, because I feel in some way, I know I tried, and I going to a dog to the veterinarian is something that is very expensive, and I did, or I gave more than I even had to be able to make you be here, and unfortunately it wasn't enough. But I will always like love you, Toby. If you want to say it that way. I don't know if you want to say it that way. I will always do. Just that it's weird to say it in a stream platform. But I wanted to be here, and it's fine if anybody watch this. And as I post on my Instagram, is in my 2025, I never consider that you will believe in me. Consider that in December we had a really great time, at least I see it that way. And that even that you know that everybody at some point has to die, I never thought that you will die. Not because I wanted to be, like, not realistic. More because I really, really, really thought that you were not gonna die. You were my dog. You are not allowed to die. If you want to say it that way. And I just want you to know that I miss you. I know you bark at me several times. I know you beat some people, or bite some people. They still appreciate you. They still think that you were great. They still cry you leave me. And I want to say also I'm sorry for the moment that you left. I know maybe at the moment I was not the person that you needed me to be. Because instead of, holding you, as everybody says, just hold your dog until it's okay to leave, I just went crazy and I started screaming and crying at the same time and saying like, I'm sorry. Maybe all you needed was just to tell you everything will be fine, you can go. And maybe that was true because the second I did, it was the second you stopped breathing. As fucked up it sounds. Just I know maybe some people say that the greatest honor that you can do after your dog has left or passed away is to get another dog, because that would mean that the love that he gave you will be so big, so you want to repeat again. And I think that's something beautiful to say. But how do I move on, or how can I get a dog in the future when at this moment I feel like if I'm betraying you, you know what I mean? I feel like, if I'm betraying you, I feel like I cannot have it like ever again a dog because you were my dog. And for example, and I compare it like this, and maybe it's just ridiculous, I don't know. But if I have someone from my family that hope God doesn't want it, unfortunately has to or passed away, I don't replace it with another, like if it was, I don't know, my cousin, I don't replace it with another cousin, you know what I mean? I just gave in and I accepted the truth that I won't have my cousin anymore. And sometimes I feel like that's what it has to be. I have to be like, I won't have any other dog anymore. Am I being ridiculous. Sometimes I wish that you could just like, I don't know, maybe just give me a sign and tell me like what to actually do.
No one followed you, right? If I were you, I'd
But I
snap
don't
that
know.
up while the deal's on.
That's, black market only. Mm-hmm.
Only sold by yours truly.
But I don't know.
Can't be found anywhere but this van. Guaranteed.
Like I said, I don't know. But either way,
FYI, some of these items go onto the market via unorthodox routes. But then I guess that doesn't bother you.
but either way, as I said, I don't know if I'm gonna have ever a dog. I just know at the moment that I feel like I wouldn't want to have a dog ever again in my life, because I just want you. And if I don't know, maybe this is a toxic trait, but if I can have you, I don't want to have anything else, because nothing will ever compare to the dog you were or to what you meant for me. I hope, I really, really, really hope that in the future, in many years, you might need to wait a little bit. In many years, when it is my time to live this type of life, I would say, I will be able to meet you, to see you, and I hope you'll be like happy with me the whole time, because what do you mean that that was just the last time I saw you? I don't think that's possible. I don't think that's what it is. To be honest, my head cannot be around the fact that I won't be able to see you again in not even my entire life, but like even after life. I don't think so. And I hope if we don't see each other in and I hope that maybe we'll be able to meet sooner. And maybe you're gonna say, what do you read here? Well, I've seen a lot of videos of people saying like they encounter with the dogs, specific things. And I saw a photo of a newborn like just yesterday that it looked exactly like you. He had like blonde hair on his legs and on his body, and he was black as well, just like you were. And I was like, oh, in a moment I really, really thought it was you. I was like, oh, but you know, then it wasn't. So yeah, you were great. I think you gave me more than I could ever have given you. With the few things, if you want to call it like that I ever gave you, I hope you had a happy life. I hope you know that every single sunny day that I will ever see in my life will always remember me the fact that you used to love them. Those were the days that you woke up with the most energy. Those were the days that you actually enjoy to be alive, let's say. And every single time there has been one, as of lately, I just think you would have loved this day. You would have been so full of energy. You would be outside, laying, taking a sunbath, and you wouldn't care how long you will need to be outside, because all you care about was the sun. And every single time I'm looking to the sun right now, that's everything that my head thinks. I even know, I'll be like, I know that my dog will love this day, and I realize the hours that you will be out. There are other things that are a little bit hard to do. Cooking, I know that every single time we cooked, every single time we gave you something or leftovers, and some people might not agree, some veterinarians will be like, you know what, you shouldn't give that to your dog. I gave everything besides like obviously the toxic food for my dog that I could. And before this event, he was the healthiest dog ever, with full of energy and the happiest as well. And so those small things like cooking, for example, now I was making like some sandwich for myself with minced beef, and I had like leftovers from the burger that I made or from the patty that I made with minced beef that I would usually give to you, and then I left it. One second, if you guys are hearing this. Yeah, right, I'm live. You guys listen to this? Right? Are you? One second, if you guys are hearing this. Oh, I hope you guys are hearing this. Do you guys listen to this? Because I've been talking like fucking crazy. One second. Either way. Whatever it is, I really hope that you're listening to this. Oh, I hope you guys are hearing this. Do you guys listen to this? Because I've been talking like fucking crazy. One second. Either way. Whatever it is, I really hope that. Okay, yes, you guys are listening to this, and fine with that because my God, I've been talking crazy. So what I was saying, so these kind of small things require like the meat or the leftovers of the food is weird, even like the roles that you have to play with it, because it's like, what do you mean that I'm not giving that to my dog anymore? What? That's a little bit outrageous. I know, but that's how it is. That's what life has become as of lately, and it doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't mean that it's good either. It's just life, and yes, there will be like no one will be able to ever replace you. And you were the most amazing thing ever happened to my life. My biggest wish as a kid, it was you. And my biggest wish as an adult was you to survive. Life says that you cannot always get everything that you want. And I understand that, but this specific thing I'm still trying to understand. Maybe one day I will, maybe I won't at all. And that's okay. That's alright. But yeah. I really hope you had a great life. I tried to give you one. I know either I wasn't the greatest owner. I know I should have walked you more. And I didn't. But besides that, I hope you know that I tried. And yeah, I will always love you. I will always miss you. And from now on, I'll always look for the time that we are able to meet you now. And yes, you were where you are, and I think you are because that's the biggest thing that has happened. You're the biggest loss that I ever had, and maybe that I will ever will as well. And as I said before, a lot of people think and underestimate, thought someday um, they just don't think the same way as us, and while that's normal, only me and maybe you will understand why we think the way we do. I'm gonna put some off and play. So this was the letter to my dog. Hope everybody had a great time, and if not, well, we will see each other later on a different life.